So, um, well, I really hate seeing those kind of videos, and usually how I make videos is I just I try to make something where like I would enjoy watching because I watch a lot of YouTube. Like I know what I like. I know what like sometimes is like cringy, and like a lot of the time the cringy things are like the full sponsored video, and it's like I get it. Like I understand doing it. Like you gotta get sponsors sometimes. That's important, but a lot of times it's cringe. So like it took like a lot of like revision and shit to like get it to the point where it didn't feel like that. And I don't I just like personally would feel weird doing like a kind of disingenuous thing. So they were all right with it to an extent. There were some things that were good and they were good with, and some things they weren't good with. Um yeah. I also don't know how much I'm allowed to say about that.
Were there things that you had
Like
to cut out?
legally. There were. I think I can say that. I don't think I can say what they were, but I can say that there were things I did have to cut out, and we went through, I would say, quite a few revisions to get to a point where like they could stomach what I was what I was putting down. Yeah, but it was like a decent point. I was kind of hoping that they would have known, like I had given them what I was gonna do, like because we had multiple phone calls and meetings about it. I was hoping that I came across this. I tried to lay it down best I could, say this is what I want to do, and I think that put them somewhere near the ballpark, which is good to like prime them for being ready. But there were a lot of things that happened where it was like some people were not in on the priming of what was about to happen or what I was gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like happy it's over. It was fun. It was a good experience for sure. Actually, a lot of the reason I did it was just because, like, wow, this is fun. I mean, it's Amazon. That's badass. So got the experience. And
And how did you develop the idea of what happened in that video? I mean, where did out of all the possible things that you could have done, how did you wind up there?
I think. I think. What? Originally, when you see that scene that I was gonna be like recreating, and the idea for the baby, it's like a powerful laser in a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm not gonna put a powerful laser in a baby. That's like lasers are insta blind to you, which are like, and it's like I'm fine with doing that myself, but it's like, what if some kid? It's easy to buy a laser and ease from like eBay. You can get it from like Shenzhen for fucking $20, like an eye destroyer. So I didn't want to put like a high powered laser in the baby because it's like that's also it's just not that interesting when you just put like something like a high powered laser. It can like light matches and like light paper on fire, and like that's cool and all, but there's not a lot of punch to it after you've lit the three things on fire that are cool to light on fire.
Right.
So yeah. So and I don't know, blood seemed like the way to go. I got these really cool like CO2 solenoid valves that can handle that much pressure, and I was like, I can slap them together. This is fun. This is cool. Yeah. It was a stressful. It was probably I would say for sure the most stressful video I've done thus far because of it was a big time crunch and a hard deadline because the boys came out like on a day and they're not waiting for like the YouTuber to finish their shit.
There's no pushing that.
Yeah. You're not pushing that. So it was a tight deadline, mixture of a tight deadline, some redos, and like the concept was kind of hard to come up with too, because it's like, how do you move from powerful lasers in a baby to whatever the hell that was?
Laser tag.
Yeah.
Do you have to worry a lot about? I hadn't thought about this before, but now it's so obvious about the liability of the dangerous things that you're building and inspiring some sort of copycat. I remember
like harm to people.
Yeah, like okay, you're also not going to remember this, but in the early 90s, okay, Beavis and Butthead.
I watched Beavis and Butthead.
Okay, there was a lawsuit in which some kid like burned his trailer down playing with matches or playing with a lighter, and they tried to sue MTV for inspiring the kid to play with fire because Beavis and Butthead played with fire.
Right. Yeah. No, I remember that.
It was a huge deal. This was like a really, really big deal back then. I don't think
Well,
that they
yeah.
won. You think they settled?
Yeah.
I don't really know what happened with that.
I don't recall anything significant happening from it, but that happens on YouTube all the time. You know, Rusty Cage had a video about how to tie a noose, and people routinely give him a hard time based on, like, you know, suicidal situations with family members, and say, you know, like, my son watched your video or something like that. Like, you can't tell if it's a real comment or somebody just trying to get a rise out of him, but anything you put on YouTube is liable, you know, for having somebody claim that it inspired the bad thing, or, you know, the great thing that they did. How many people say, "Oh, I you know, did this amazing stuff from watching YouTube," but it goes in both directions. And, you know, when you're cutting, like we talked to William about cutting busts with, you know, laser cutters, you know, the Vin
The
Diesel,
laser.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that could go pretty wrong. You know, he's talking about how bad it smells when the ham and the cheese start to get scorched. Well, you know, that could easily be a hand. You know?
Yeah.
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 So yeah, we actually talked to him about that, didn't we? We talked to him about him burning himself with a laser, and how that felt. You know, and so that kind of stuff happens when you're playing around with materials like that, whether you intend to be dangerous or not.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea I have is that if you can like hurt yourself easily, generally I don't want to do it, but a lot of the time it's kind of like security through obfuscation, where you're like for like a laser eye video, like if you're already, there are lasers on Amazon, like or like you can get, also that laser was like the weakest possible one, but if you were like to make that robot, I assume that if you're able to make that and like set up all the stuff, you are smart enough to know not to point a laser, like a strong laser, in your eye. I like most of the stuff that's dangerous is somewhat difficult, at least, to like, if you weren't doing it. So like if you're able to like get the end product, the end dangerous machine or whatever, it like somewhere along the way you're like, the cogs are turning enough to know not to like stick your tongue in the 120 volts, right? That's the way I try to think about it.